Hey folks, Roland Martin here. I am at Landmark Restaurant in New York City. I have a meeting later today, and I say, you know what, let's go ahead and do this thing here and share it with you. But earlier, before I got to, before my meeting, and before I did this here, I caught up with McCray. She is the First Lady of New York City, wife of Mayor Bill de Blasio. And we had a very good conversation about an initiative she is working with that deals with mental illness and how she is specifically working with African American sororities and women's groups to deal with this huge issue. And so here is my conversation with the First Lady of New York City. So let's talk about your mental health initiative.
All right.
So exactly what is it?
Well, it's this is a partnership. Sisters Thrive is a partnership of 6 historically Black women-led organizations, and their membership in New York City trained in mental health first aid. All right, and we want to train 10,000 of their members by the end of 2018.
Now, when you say mental health first aid, how does that differ from when you think about traditional first aid?
Well, it's different because it deals with behavioral health. Like, we all know what to do if someone bleeding, if someone they fall down and they break or fracture something. We know what to do, right? We have they have that basic information, but we don't know what to do if someone's having a panic attack, or if someone's suffering from depression or anxiety, which is so prevalent in our society. But we don't have those basic skills. Mental health first aid teaches people how to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental illness and substance misuse, and also what to do about it.
You also have the issue, I mean, obviously, with police having to deal with folks with mental illness as well. I think about Kajima Powell, the brother who was killed shortly after Michael Brown in St. Louis. And he comes out of the store and they call the cops, and everyone clearly says, look, this guy's disturbed. Right. And it literally was 16 seconds from the moment the police door opened to the first shot was fired, and he was a mentally disturbed person, and folks just did not know how to deal with this guy ranting and raving, and he ends up dead.
That's right, and that story is so tragic, and I feel for his family and friends, and there are so many others. But we should not get to that point. That's the thing. I want you to know that first of all, mental illness, substance abuse, so prevalent in our society. 1 in 5 adults suffer in any given year, 1 in 5 children, which means that every single one of us knows somebody. If it's not in our family, then certainly in our extended family or in our friends, our community, we're all touched by this. And if we all know the signs and the symptoms, we can get people to treatment sooner. And communities of color, the numbers are probably 20% higher because of the trauma, because of poverty, because of so many things. But the average wait time between when symptoms emerge and people actually go for treatment is 10 years. And of course, in many cases, they never go for treatment. And then they spiral down because we're talking about a disease here. And if people don't get treated, what happens? It gets worse, right? So we're not doing those preventions and interventions that should be happening.
What has been the reaction when you talk to folks about this? Because look, I mean, people often say, that's so and so just having a bad day, and then we just sort of just dismiss it.
Yeah, that's why we need people to take mental health first aid, take this course, get certified. We need more education about the whole issue because, look, I'm a parent. I know, I didn't know that in most cases the symptoms of mental illness emerge by or before the age of 14 or 24. In half the cases by the age of 14, 75% of the cases by the age of 24. That means that we need to be paying attention to our young people in a way that most of us don't realize. We'll say, oh, my son, my daughter, just acting like a teenager, being withdrawn, personality change. Those are signs that we should be doing something. And more of us have to understand that this is not about having a bad day, not when someone has a behavior that is chronic, meaning it's happening day after day after day.
Or even having what I call a bad life. I mean, we are, we're having this conversation the day after the young man who's the quarterback at Washington State University. He redshirt sophomore. He killed himself last night, and folks are trying to figure out. Oh my goodness, you know, I mean, here's a college student going to be starting for the football team next year, Pac-12 major university, 21 years old. Younger brother's one of the top quarterbacks in high school, and he commits suicide. And they're trying to figure out what in the world, what happened, how did we not see this thing coming?
Right. It is so important for us to reach out to our loved ones, our friends, and to understand what they're going through. We tend to keep our feelings inside, you know, especially, you know, us. We like to feel like we're strong and we're in control, but, you know, life has many challenges, and if we're not talking seriously to one another about what we're going through, and it makes it harder to detect, like, who needs help. Maybe, I don't know what his situation was. Maybe he told someone he was thinking about taking his own life. If so, then it would have been possible to intervene to help him get to the help that he needed. But more of us have to understand, like, well, what do you do in that situation? Find out, does somebody have a plan? That's an indicator that, you know, that getting treatment is urgent, right? If someone has a plan to take their own life, and they have the means to do it, and that means we've got to get that person to help right away.
So what does the first date look like? I mean, how long is it? I mean, how long does it take?
It's an 8-hour course, a 7 or 8 hour course. So it's pretty intensive, and one has to get recertified every 2 or 3 years. So it's all day, it's interactive, and let me tell you, it really transformed my life. I took the class about 3 years ago, and when I took it, I learned so much that I said we've got to get as many people as possible to take this class so that they understand this very basic information, which none of us grow up with. We just don't. We don't even have the language for it. I mean, you said commit suicide. Like, we don't commit suicide. It's like we take our own lives. You know, people die, and we don't have terminology that is sensitive in a lot of cases for what people are going through.
So you want 10,000. So how many folks have gone through it thus far? And when do you want to have? When do you want to hit that number?
Well, we want
3 months, 6 months.
We want to hit that number, 10,000. By the end of 2018, just for the Sisters Thrive component. But in New York City, we've already trained 50,000.
Really?
That's right. So,
and
we're well on our way to training 250,000 New Yorkers in the next 4 years.
And have you had conversations with folks in other cities about this as well, in terms of them picking up on this?
Yes, everywhere I go, I talk about Thrive NYC, which is our comprehensive mental health plan, and mental health first aid is a core part of it. I talk to other folks, but other states they've got to find their own way. We are open and ready to talk to anyone about how we're doing it, and why we're doing it, and because we want to share this information, we need to get it out to as many people as possible.
So if somebody wants to get in contact, what do they do?
So if anyone wants to sign up for mental health first aid in New York, they can just go to nyc.gov/MHFA. That's nyc.gov/MHFA.
All right.
And they can contact, if people are not in New York City, they can contact the Behavioral Health Council and get more information. Or they can go to our website and look for information there as well, the Thrive NYC workshop website.
All right, cool. So what else you got going on?
What else? Well,
that's
quite a bit.
Somewhat of a small city.
Okay. Well, I want to start organizations because they've done such great work, and that all these members take a pledge to be involved in public service, to be activists and advocate for wellness in our communities. They are Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, and also Jack and Jill of America and the eastern area of the Links. They're all working together, which is really unprecedented for them to work with government in this.
Where are the fraternities?
They're working on it right now.
Where are the fraternities?
Yeah, I hope to come back and tell.
I'm an alpha, so
well, I guess we'll be back and talking with you soon.
I mean, you got all the sororities there, the female groups. You got to have, of course, the fraternities.
Yeah, of course we do. Of course we do. But we got to start somewhere.
I got you.
So we're looking forward to working with our brothers this year. And,
okay.
I hope you'll invite me back to talk about.
No, we can do that. It's not a problem.
And if the brothers want to do 20,000 in a year, hey, that's fine with me.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm sure I'll reach out to our General President Everett Ward, and so he certainly can lead in that capacity. So
fantastic.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. Good to be here.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
All right, then. So great conversation with the First Lady, Shirlane McCray. I sure appreciate her chatting with me. All right, let's talk about University of Alabama. So have y'all heard this, you see the video? Harley Barber, this white female freshman from New Jersey. Let's just say she got a little extra in terms of on Instagram, talking about black people. And she's been getting blasted. She's a member of Alpha Phi sorority. Actually, she was a member of Alpha Phi sorority. After this video dropped and it went viral, she was kicked out of the sorority. Now she may very well get kicked out of the University of Alabama. Anyway, check this out. Here's one of the videos.
With the poor people going on, and we do not waste water. We don't waste water because of people in this area. I love how I act like black people, but I love how I act like I love black people because I fucking hate niggers. So that's really interesting. I fucking hate niggers, but I just saved the fucking niggers by shutting that water off. So jump on it, jump on this, jump on this, jump on this, jump on. That's like I'm gonna probably jump on your man with my fucking woo sincere.
Now that same night, she posted another video from the car that was even crazier.
Sorority. I've wanted to be an Alpha Phi since I was fucking in high school, and nobody fucking understands how much I love Alpha Phi. And now someone wants to stake my finta because I said nigger. You know what? Nigger, nigger, nigger. No, I don't care if it's Martin Luther King Day. Nigger, nigger, nigger. I'm in the South now, bitch. So everyone can fuck off. I'm from New Jersey. So I can say nigger as much as I want. Nigger, nigger, nigger. And if anyone else wants to fucking snake me on my fucking finsta for saying nigger, I'm in a fur vest. I want you to buy my fucking fur vest. Cause fuck you. Go to Neiman Marcus and buy my fucking fur vest. Cause fuck you. If you fucking snake me to my fucking sorority, that means fucking everything to me. Because fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
All right then. Foul, profane, all of that. Well, guess what, Harley? You no longer are in that sorority you always wanted to be a member of. You also may very well get kicked out of the University of Alabama. See, folks, here's why I'm not mad. I'm not mad because bigots have always been around. Racists have always been here. And so social media is essentially the 21st century version of colored water fountain signs. See, these folks, they are always going to expose themselves. They're always going to be stuck on stupid. They're always here. They're always there. You read a lot of these message boards and you see these comments. This is what they do. This is what they represent. And so, look, they're there. And I want them to keep talking. I want them to keep showing these videos. Because, see, Harley Barber, here's the deal. Every time you go for a job interview and they Google you, oh, remember the song The Freaks Come Out at Night? The biggest come out at night. The biggest come out on social media. And so you will always be associated with this. Just like, remember the PR woman who was joking about AIDS in South Africa? Yeah, that's just always going to haunt her as well. This is what happens. And so these racists, Trump has emboldened these bigots. And they feel like they can say whatever they want to say. Please keep saying what you want to say. Because see, I rather know where you stand. I rather know exactly how you feel. I rather know how you feel versus you know, laughing in my face, saying hi, oh so thank you, how you doing, and then this is how you feel behind closed doors. So Harley Barber, thanks a bunch. Thanks for the laughs. And now you're gonna have to go home to your parents, who may not realize that's kind of person you are. They could know that. But see, now everybody knows. So now you got to explain when you go back to New Jersey what happened and why you got booted out the University of Alabama. And then, of course, when you go apply for other schools, they're going to Google you as well. And they probably going to have a red flag by your name. Ain't that a shame? It's amazing what happens, what you lose, when you completely act a fool. All right, I'm going to deal with my next story. Donald Trump, of course, hates the Congressional Black Caucus. We now know, based upon the folks who were in the room when he had the meeting about DACA, how he took shots at the CBC, not wanting to meet with him. Well, today, Chief of Staff John Kelly and another aide went to the Capitol Hill to meet with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, trying to come up with a DACA fix. But see, here's the problem. The Congressional Black Caucus is the largest caucus of the Democrats in the House. Yeah, the largest. So you can't ignore the Congressional Black Caucus, Donald Trump. If you want to cut a deal with Democrats, you can't ignore them. And so if I'm Congressman Cedric Richmond, who was the chair, you know what I would do? So remember when they said they were not going to meet with Trump? I would now call for that meeting. I would call for that meeting. And what I would then do is I would say, no, we want to meet with you. We want to sit down with you. But we want the cameras there. We want this meeting wide open. We want everybody to know what happens in this meeting. And I would press him on all the important issues. I would press him on voter fraud. I would press him on the Department of Justice. I would press him on his comments about Haiti and Africa. I would have Representative Mia Love there, and I would say, you apologize to her right now for your comments and see what he does. That's what I would do, but that's just me. Final topic. So Florida Atlantic University, Lane Kiffin is a head coach. They've hired this Charlie Weiss Jr., 24 years old, as their offensive coordinator. He's the son of Charlie Weiss, of course, failed head coach of the new Notre Dame, failed head coach at Kansas, former offensive coordinator in Florida. He, of course, was an offensive coordinator with the New England Patriots. 24 years old, he gets an offensive coordinator's job. Lane Kiffin talks about his brilliance, talks about how smart he is, his knowledge, being the son of a head coach. And that's fine. But let me ask you a question. He's going to be the youngest offensive coordinator in the country. He graduated, y'all, from college 2015. He's now an offensive coordinator. So let me break this thing down for you. Let me break it down for you. When is the last young young black person you've heard described that way? I'll give you an example. Jeff Zucker became executive producer of the Today Show at 25. I've looked at other people I know in media, at 25, 27, 28, 30, and became executive producers, became vice presidents, became, major positions. Here's my question. When was the last African American you've ever seen get one of these plum jobs? Are there no black geniuses? Or do we not have white privilege? Or do we not have the hookup? Or do we not have people who embrace us in those spaces? So when we're 21 and 22, we get those opportunities to show who we are. No, I'm being very serious. See, I'm not begrudging Charlie Weiss Jr. But what I'm saying is, are you telling me that there are no black kids who are just as smart, intuitive, know the system? Do you know how many African Americans are in their 30s and 40s and even 50s and have never become an offensive coordinator? We've been putting in the time as wide receivers coach and defensive back coach and offensive line coach, and I can go down the line, and still waiting for a major job like that. Same in my business. African American, been putting the time in, waiting to become executive producer of a show, waiting to become a senior producer, waiting to become a vice president, waiting to become a president. Yet you turn around and You see folks who are 40 and 38, 35, 32 and 30 getting major jobs. And again, I simply ask you, show me one, show me two, show me three African Americans this has happened to. And if you can't, what does that say? If you can't, what does that mean? I think it speaks volumes. I think it says a lot about what happens when you're not in the room. You're not even considered. And so, as we're becoming a more majority-minority country, I want us to think about that. I want us to think about what happens when we don't get this opportunity. See, this is how you impact generations, because how you impact your children's children. Because all of a sudden, when you get these kinds of jobs, these high-paying jobs, you're able to create generational wealth. You're getting stock options. You're getting all kinds of stuff that black folks never are a part of. And so I dare challenge all these industries. Show me the young black geniuses. Show me somebody young and black who gets one of these amazing opportunities, like Charlie Wise Jr. And if it happens with black and Hispanic folks, then I can believe that we're reaching equality or parity. But until then, it's the same old, same old. Folks, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at Roland Martin. Also hit my Facebook page as well. Go to my digital site, allthat.tv. I'll see you guys tomorrow from Georgia State University. I'm giving the MLK speech. Y'all have a great one. Peace out.